Hello everyone, MeanSpeed here with another video. So since my last video there's been a few updates to Rising Hub, and I was actually planning to upload a video on just the one update, but luckily since another one came out today, I thought I'd put them both in one video, so it was pretty good timing to be honest. So the most recent update, the one we got today, is the Christmas update, which features an entirely new map called Weihnacht Warzone, I think, something like that. Hopefully I said it right. And this is something that was actually custom made by Bixie in the team. This isn't something that was in the game beforehand and got brought back, or a different version or alteration to an existing map. So it's pretty awesome to have something completely new, and custom maps are actually something that I was really trying for back in the day. I always voiced my interest and suggestions to get the map editor released to the community when Battlefield Heroes was really in some of its darkest years. As a way to breathe some new life back into the game. So having custom maps being released here for Rising Hub is really impressive, and hopefully in the future the community gets to work on and make their own maps, and then maybe the developers or a special group of people can be made to basically vote on and approve the maps for use on servers and stuff like that. So about the map itself, it's a very small map, the smallest in the game right now, with snow, trees and market stands. It's got a festive feel to it since Christmas is very close now and we're just in that type of holiday season. The map is better suited for close range combat. It's sort of like an arena style map, so expect gunners to be very common and effective on the map, and sniping really isn't that desirable, so as a commando you might want to miss out or just change your weapons around a bit if you want to try the map. The map doesn't have any vehicles just because of how small it is, because of its size, and it hasn't had any balance testing yet apparently. And according to Discord, it's basically an infantry map to test the waters in producing entirely new maps for the game. So there are 4 flags, 2 of them being the team bases, and then there's the Christmas market and the tavern areas. I noticed that most of the combat happens at the market because it's quicker to reach for both sides, and there's more to it, like an upper area with ladders, lots of market stands to hide behind, and while surrounding a giant tree in the middle. I personally like the map, since I do prefer infantry maps and close range fights anyway, and considering no tests were actually done beforehand for balancing, I think the map isn't too bad in that regard. I will say though that rounds end very quickly because of how small the map is and how combat is happening more often and in close range. So it might be a good idea to add more tickets to the map, maybe like 75 or something slightly higher, just so it doesn't feel too quick, and then you get the 3 rounds done and then that's done for like the map rotation. Like I said before, I'm really looking forward to the future for more custom maps, because so many ideas that were never looked at or done back in the day for maps can now be made into reality, and I can see a lot of creative minds getting behind this and making some really impressive maps that could reach the level of, or maybe even better, fan favourites like Victory Village and Buccaneer Bay. Also, to celebrate the holiday season, this update came with an extra experience event, so everyone right now should have the 300% stacked XP boost on their heroes automatically, and this will basically last until New Year's Day, so it's available for a bit over a week. I've seen other games do this for holiday and seasonal events before, and it's really nice to see it here too, because this never happened in the old days, and events like this in games are a great way to get more people to play and get online more often. But when I did last check it, apparently not all of the servers have been updated to support the extra experience, so depending on the server you're in, you might not get the extra XP, but I'm guessing this will be fixed pretty shortly. Other new features in this update include bringing back the moon map known as Lunar Landing. Now, since I believe developers are at the moment struggling and having some issues to actually add Capture the Flag back to the game, which happened to be the only mode Lunar Landing was available on officially, the map has now been made to support the already playable Team Deathmatch and Hero of the Hill modes, and I'm glad this map was brought back with those modes instead of leaving it to the side, and if and when CTF can be brought back with it. I also think that some people who maybe didn't like the map back in the day might appreciate it or grow to like it now because of the game modes that it has. I mean, sometimes a game mode can change the way the map is used and maybe even get you to like it if you didn't like it with CTF, for example. Heroic Highlands also got Hero of the Hill added to it, as well as more vehicle spawns, which is a really smart move because the map is very wide, barren and open, so being able to use vehicles more often and having more of them is very useful for the type of map that it is. And they also added Riverside Rush Hero of the Hill, which is good. I wanted to see that last time as well, so it's nice to have that too. We also have a lot of small fixes here, but I think some of the more important ones to mention are that the Royals and Nationals got a few widgets that they didn't both have. So before, only the Nationals had the throwing knife and only the Royals had the explosive present, but now it should be equal. Also, as you might have seen in some of the gameplay, the demon shotguns that were originally for soldiers only were added for gunners as well, which I'm pretty glad about, as I would have got a lot more use out of those back in the day if they were for gunners as well. Finally, there's now a statement that appears when you launch Rising Hub, which says, "We are not affiliated with Electronic Arts Incorporated, Easy Studios or DICE Studios. All rights belong to their owners." So yeah, hopefully this message that appears whenever you start the game, along with some logos being reworked, removed and changed, goes a long way towards EA not getting involved or attempting to shut Rising Hub down. Another update we got, which is what I was originally going to just make this video on before the Christmas update, is the weapon testing update, which basically added working scopes for weapons like the bows and the repeater rifles, which were previously either very hard to use or completely useless altogether. So I appreciate that those scopes were added, so there's now more diversity in weapons and it makes the game feel more fresh, and setups that you couldn't use and do before because of these issues can now be made. Also, weapons like the swords and machetes had their damage fixed, so it's good to know that the team is able to change weapons, and because of that, more weapon balancing can be done in the future for both overpowered and underpowered weapons alike. Now, just to finish here, I noticed this on the Discord, and I thought it was something important to bring up and mention, so I'll just read it here. "We would love to bring you every mechanic or feature that was running in the past, like Capture the Flag, Team Elimination, or the Claw, but there's something you need to know. The following features are currently not possible to bring back." So I'm going to read each one out from the list and just give my thoughts on them. The Claw. So the Claw, it was pretty useless to have right now, I think, because we already have everything unlocked, and that probably won't change until the store's working. So right now, the Claw, I don't think it's that desirable. Workbench. The Workbench wasn't really a widely liked feature, though there won't be that pay-to-win model like before, that part of it. Just a lot of RNG with the mod drops. The War Room. The War Room could be fun since it gives you something else to fight and play for, but it's not something I'd personally prioritise over some of the others on the list. Just my opinion. Capture the Flag. CTF, it was something I enjoyed a lot, though I feel most people just played it for the longer game time and the maps it offered, like Perilous Port Day, not for the actual mode itself, because there wasn't really much of a reward for a victory or for ending the game quickly after 3 flag captures. But maybe if and when it gets added, some changes could be made to the mode to encourage playing the objective, something like that. But I would like to see CTF return, you know, because it was just pretty enjoyable for me anyway. Team Elimination. Right, so this one was good in theory, but the execution back in the day was pretty awful because most people just played it for the insanely easy points you got for winning, so it really just promoted stat padding. So yeah, once again, a mode I think could be fixed if they manage to get it added at some point. The store. Now this is a crucial part of the game if we're going to eventually buy everything with VP. It's nice enough to have everything unlocked right now, but I do think perhaps another thing to play for comes in bringing the store back and allowing us to unlock more items, weapons and clothes over time. I think maybe with this one the team could put the store on the site instead, but only as a last resort type thing if there's no possible way to get it in game. The friend system. Honestly, if I want to play with friends, I normally just tell them what server I'm on and they'll just favorite it and they'll be queuing from there. So I don't see this as being that necessary right now. The alternate fires to some weapons. I think this could go a long way for some of the weapons right now that feel too weak and incomplete without their alternate fires. And in adding them back, we'd obviously get more weapon diversity as well. New game modes. Definitely something I want to see in the future. It's just something new, unique, and a way to breathe more life into the game. Gives it more content, features, and overall more longevity. New clothing or weapons. Again, I'd really like this to happen for the reasons I just listed for the game modes. Ramming, speed, or jumping cars widget. These would be fun. You know, they're always pretty fun to use on people, and the ramming Jeep was always a good counter to tanks. It would be pretty chaotic, though, on vehicle maps, because obviously everyone would have access to the widgets. I guess it depends on whether this gets added after the store's fixed or not, to be honest. Pocket Jeeps, tanks, planes, and helicopters. So this was always a flawed feature in the game, being able to spawn a tank, for example, right when your old one was almost destroyed, or when you got onto somewhere high up, was very game-changing and powerful. So if these were added, then I think some limitations could be put in place to make pocket vehicles nowhere near as crazy and powerful as they were in the old Battlefield Heroes. Server bookmark. So this pretty much just refers to when you could bookmark a server from the scoreboard in-game. I don't really think that's necessary because we already have a dedicated and easy enough way to favourite a server and join it from the site. Shorter matches, longer matches, or ticket reduction. So this is definitely something I'd like to see. Like I said at the start of the video, more tickets for the Christmas map would be very beneficial, and more tickets and longer matches on maps like Victory Village would be something I'd really enjoy too. The over-the-shoulder zoom for certain weapons. So I noticed this for the repeater, for example, because right now it scopes in like a normal sniper rifle would do, and I'm aiming decently with the current scope view, I guess, though it would be a nice addition to have the old zoom back, or maybe even an option to switch your preferred zoom for those weapons to either first or third person, depending on just what you're more comfortable with. 360 degrees rotation on parachute. Honestly, this is something I didn't even notice in game, so for me it's not a necessary thing or a huge deal. The anti-aircraft RPG locking onto vehicles. So this is pretty much needed for the weapon, otherwise there's no way someone would choose it over the standard RPG, and it's what it's supposed to do anyway. I believe the only thing it's got going for it right now is giving you some help finding commandos in stealth, because I remember hearing that it locks onto any player now, no matter if they're in stealth or not. The swarm of weapons locking onto players. So I believe this just refers to the homing guns not working properly. So if these mechanics were to be fixed, then the weapon might get some usage, but it was always pretty weak anyway back in the day. So maybe the team could make even more changes to it if possible regarding damage and stuff. Hero deletion. I think this is a pretty helpful feature if you chose the wrong class or just messed up in the creation process in general, like choosing the wrong hair colour or making a spelling mistake with the name. So it would be nice to have if the team doesn't intend to add a barbershop feature anytime soon. And I can understand that right now the name change feature is more expensive than it looks because VP isn't shared across your account but for each individual hero instead. So a lot of these are pretty important, and they might be brought back soon. They could take a while, or they might not be possible to add at all. And for some of these features it might be because of limitations with the game and server files that are publicly available, or limitations within the team for whatever reason. It would be pretty incredible to see most, if not all of these return at some point, but right now I don't really mind that we don't have the majority of them, and my playing experience so far hasn't been massively impacted by not having these and for them not being around yet. Alright guys, so that was a lot of updates to go through. I tried to get through it as quick as I could. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and if I don't make another video fairly soon, I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you all, and have a great New Year.